While I do not play the violin or any string instrument, I do think I have a combination that can create that magic. So let's try that out. One moment, please. Let's put this up here. There we go. All right, now for my bow. All right, let's make some gorgeous music. Here we go. Artemis is the 5th studio album released by Lindsey Stirling, or the 4th regular studio album if you don't count holiday albums. In this case, we're going to count it. I really like that album. I never really know what to expect from Lindsey. I know that I really like her videos. There's always phenomenal choreography that goes with it. I have yet to see her in concert. There's a fine tone with her music. There are times where I think to myself, is this something that you're going to listen to a lot, like driving in the car? Not necessarily. I do love Crystallize, the first song that really took off. But I would say this is stuff I like to enjoy occasionally. Aside from that song and, of course, her Christmas album, which I have listened to the last 2 years and definitely will for many years to come. It is that good. And creative. So what do we get with this album? I will say there is a theme, and a tone and or mood to this album. I don't want to sound negative saying this, but in a way it can be taken either way. A majority of this album does feel kind of one note. You can identify each song differently, but there are a lot of things that tie them all together, and I feel like that should make sense in an album, but sometimes there are things that feel almost too cohesive in a way. But not cohesive enough for me to dislike the album. It's just something that I noticed. I felt like some of the patterns just kind of didn't stretch too far one way or the other, or anything like that. There are many songs where I noted things that were tiny details or parts of the composition that stood out to me. So let me go ahead and try to highlight those and see how different you feel those could be to you, or just for the album itself. The first song, Underground, I felt like could be used as a movie theme. I was very interested at the beginning for seeing that, so I was trying to figure out if it was a cover or not. First song I think I really fell in love with is Till the Light Goes Out. Great melody and good complementing chants. Just, well, a complementary pair. Yeah. Forever Glow kind of feels like a techno Christmas carol. It isn't a Christmas song at all, but there are things to the composition that made me think, using those kinds of sounds could put you into the holiday category. So that's just kind of what I thought of at first. But yeah, I would love to know what you think of that song. Now here's the song where I think I would use the word exceptional. Love Goes On and On with Amy Lee from Evanescence. Imagine action anime. Combine that with a perceived idea of what Enya would do with that. That's what I kind of got here in my mind. And there's something about it that was like, oh, I'm awake. I am beholdenly looking and witnessing something. Beautiful. and Lindsey Stirling's violin is probably the most on point in this song. I'm just like, oh dang, she's going for it. The song Sleepwalking is like Yanni in the future. I don't know if I'm making these other crossover artists as a compliment. I'm trying to. I don't know how it's going to come across to those who listen to this, but yeah, I think it was pretty cool. I do also like the song Dark Side. It does feel like the beats were at the beginning somewhat off, but as the song progresses, they either fuse together or they just make more sense. So I'm going to have to listen to that song a lot more, but it was compositionally very interesting. And then there's one more song I would like to talk about. It's called The Upside. That has an instrumental version and then a lyrical version with Ellie King. L. King. I'm not sure. Now, the part about the instrumental version is it feels like a little too much is trying to be done in the song. But when you add the lyrical version, it kind of feels like it fills those holes of doubt that you have. But it doesn't feel like it's the most, not necessarily complimentary vocals, but in a way it feels like this was a collaboration project when you put it that way. It doesn't feel like it was the most perfect collaboration. I'm not saying Miss King did a bad job. I'm just saying it felt like there were potentially other singers who also could have done it. Not saying they would have done better or worse. I'm just saying it felt like we just need a vocalist, and this is the one we went with. That's just kind of my sentiment, but you know, the song's not bad. I enjoy the song. I just feel like there are things that are steering me away from loving it. So just throwing it out there. So like I said, as a whole, I feel like it kind of is one note. It does have sparks that interest me. Evidently, I mentioned songs in here that I enjoyed. But as a whole, it does feel that way. I want to know who else kind of got that vibe. I want to know if I'm not alone in that feeling. But also, there are moments where Lindsey can actually surprise me and makes me want to add songs to my playlist that I do want to add and not just feel like I'm supporting an artist that I happen to admire. There are songs that I actually do want to listen to. This album does contain that. I think the album succeeded in getting me interested in some songs. I don't necessarily know what direction I could recommend, and that's all I really could do is just make a recommendation. But I feel like she has other wits about her and creative things that she would like to explore. I would urge her to go for it and really make the most of any collaborations or opportunities or covers or anything to just stretch herself out. I feel like she can do even more than what she's already done. I feel like maybe this album was just kind of feeling like she needed to just release an album after having released a Christmas album. I don't know that, but I feel like she enjoyed making this music, but I feel like we need another thing that is going to show, hey, her range can stretch even farther. And that's what I would like to see. But for now, there are plenty of songs in here that I enjoy. So after having listened and reviewed this album with production of 89%, creativity 83%, expression and lyrics 90%, I'm going to give this album a good. I feel like she can only continue to go up. There are other people who are playing string instruments or just instruments in general who I think are getting inspired by her. And I think some of them are almost at the level of catching up. She has her most unique quality and I guess niche to her. So I would really encourage her to continue to stretch. Lindsey, you amaze me. Again, we ever talk cereal. We have to talk about that sometime. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. And remember, if you want to discover, promote, and review the best in entertainment, remember to subscribe and follow all the social media for this channel down below so you can get that yes in your life. See you next time.